If you look in the history of large companies, they buy a lot of smaller companies because they want to bring innovation. Why is it that a lot of large companies struggle with innovation? And how does that play in for your Salesforce and AI? So let me give you a good example of this. I was talking with this very large Fortune 500 company, and they had 15 people in their room representing a lot of different groups within the organization. And they are contemplating how do we move forward with AI. They have been contemplating this for 3 years now, if not more. And they have a whole army of people who are working on artificial intelligence, machine learning. They have data science professionals. They have the works, right? They have all this paraphernalia, but they have really not made a lot of meaningful progress. Why is it that a lot of large companies struggle with new, emerging, disruptive technologies? How can we really help change that, right? So if you are a consultant, if you are working internally in an IT or in business, if you represent a software vendor, this is probably one of the most profound questions that you may come across. How do we really make an impact? And the thing that I found that has really helped some of these customers is to look at a new technology and just not boil the ocean up. I cannot tell you how many times these organizations go, let's do an enterprise-wide something, and then we'll figure this out and we will do it. Because you don't want shadow IT. You don't want tiny little apps popping everywhere, vendors everywhere. And that sounds extremely good when we talk about it, but it's really hard to do it in a well-orchestrated manner. So the challenge then for a CIO or for a C-level executive is, how do I balance innovation with like really small bets and let creatively people do a bunch of things with a broader governance? Because none of these extremes are ideal. What you're looking for is some sort of a happy medium, an environment which allows smaller proof of concepts to happen, tiny use cases within your technology to happen, lets you do quote unquote dip your feet in it, and offers a governance structure that is flexible enough and loose enough that some of these things can happen. And then you want to almost think like a VC and just pick the ideas that are working and pour enough money on it, right? Pour enough resources, pour enough gasoline on those tiny little sparks of innovation and just completely deploy them everywhere. A lot of large organizations suffer because they don't embrace an approach like this. What I find is it's just committee of people, and a lot of them have been there for very long. Some of them don't understand the new technology, or they have a set of beliefs and orthodoxies that are holding them back. And then you look at some new player who's going to come in and they're like, what do you mean you're not using AI for sales? That's where I'm coming from. And I'm going, wait, why are you not enabling AI in your sales source? Why are you not looking at some of the use cases that we are doing? That seems no brainer to me and to a lot of forward-looking companies that you're working with. But the minute you go to large organizations, all of that just goes away, right? It's like anything that'll happen is probably a good 10 to 18 months out for sometimes no evident reason. It's just slow, smooth type of military thinking. But for large companies, as attractive and as addictive that line of thinking sounds, it's really not helping them. I'm finding so many of large companies fall in these two categories, some that are very forward-looking, a lot of innovation by finding the middle ground approach, which is big, small use cases, big specific focus problem, do POCs, really time box them to 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, month to month, and work with the vendors regardless of the size. You're a small vendor, and a lot of times we work with companies that don't care about that care about the innovation that we are bringing to the table because they want to move fast. And for that, they need to work with hungry, innovative, creative vendors, things like that. Or you find a lot of this innovation in medium-sized companies. That is the new area that I'm seeing, like small and medium enterprises actually can be more nimble and agile than a lot of larger ones. So if you are in one of these scenarios, ask yourself, what's your customer like? What are the orthodoxies they have to deal with? And is there enough corporate appetite to take small pointed use cases and really leverage AI, lead with value, and ensure that they're able to deploy it all over the organization? I'll be very curious to hear what you think. Thank you so much.